as the most Irish, I will start this video. I loved Leprechaun and Leprechaun Returns. Good. I've never seen them before. Until we did this review. I watched them last night.
I haven't seen a lot of the sequels in the middle. Yeah, let me tell you. Because the reason we're doing the first one and the last one is because the last one they did sort of like a Halloween reboot kind of thing. Where,
which is the trend these days, where they ignore the sequels.
Ignore the sequels, but it's a straight up sequel to the original, which is interesting.
And I want to mention, I've seen all the sequels. There's no continuity in this. It's theoretically a different Leprechaun each time, because there's stuff that contradicts other movies. Leprechaun in the Hood says he's frozen in the 70s and doesn't wake up till 2000, which makes the other movies irrelevant. So this is the first true sequel. We're returning. It has a character return. So we might return to the sequels on another St. Patty's Day.
I was really surprised to see the actor come back, the one who played
Ozzy.
Ozzy. He also was Francis in Pee-wee's Big Adventure. What's the actor's name?
I can't remember his name.
I don't remember. I remember I was watching it last night with my buddy Marshall, and he actually said, "Oh, wow, that guy came back. The guy who's Francis from whatever, he came back for this."
They couldn't get Jennifer Aniston, but they got the guy who played Ozzy.
I will say this: they got an amazing sound-alike to be her.
That came up. I was like, "Oh my god!" So because she's the character in this movie is in Leprechaun Returns is the daughter of the Jennifer Aniston character from the first one. Yeah, and there's a part when the leprechaun is speaking her in the mother's voice.
Mom? I told you, all this is real. You have to believe me when I tell you.
When I heard it, I had to reach for my phone and IMDb it real quick, because I was like, wait a minute.
Because I kept thinking about it, I'm like, couldn't they just get her for a voice? Couldn't they just approach her on the set of whatever she's filming now and be like, hey, can you do this voice really quick? Here's some money. Here's the, So I don't know. It doesn't work that way, I guess.
We should go through the first Leprechaun movie, obviously. So let's.
Well, but before we get into the actual films beat by beat, Kieran, you're the most Irish here, right?
I'm 3/4 Irish because my dad is he came from Ireland.
Well, Kieran, you're not wearing any green, so you're going to get a pinch.
I'm going to say the same thing I always say is my name is Kieran Michael Fallon. I don't need to wear green for shit. You're wearing this bright-ass green that's blowing my eyeballs out.
The flag is green, white, and orange. So I wore orange. He wore green.
I'm pretty sure my red.
This is black and white.
I probably just look like Christmas right now.
Anyway, Leprechaun. We talk about Leprechaun.
So I think the big thing about Leprechaun is that in the 90s, because this is an early 90s film, in the 90s, horror movies were becoming more self-aware. And during this time, you had the killer leprechaun, but you also had movies like Jack Frost, which was a killer snowman. And did you ever see Uncle Sam Wants You Dead?
Yep, I saw that one.
It's called Uncle Sam Wants You Dead, and it's terrible. It's not. Wow. I mean, just in case you expected that to be any good. But,
I watched Leprechaun last night. It's the first time I've ever seen Leprechaun.
Really?
It is.
They play this on TV a lot.
Awful.
You're an idiot.
No, mind you. I've seen Leprechaun in the Hood. I've seen Leprechaun Back to the Hood. But I've never seen the Space one, 3, 2, Origins.
The Las Vegas one.
There's a Las Vegas. What?
Leprechaun is a really fun movie, and I think this is important to know going in. Because a lot of people, it's rated R, they expect to be horror, gory, slashy, and the sequels are kind of like that. But this was supposed to be like Gremlins or Poltergeist, where it's like a PG-13 horror.
No, I got that. When I was watching it, I was like, this feels almost like Home Alone was what
it was
really
supposed to be something like
the
that.
music and the feel.
And then some producer decided, let's put some blood in it, let's make it rated R. But this would be a good introductory horror for kids. If they wanted to get into horror, like Gremlins kind of is, right?
Yeah. No, it felt more like a goosebumpy blood, Yeah.
Minus the blood.
Minus the fuck you Lucky Charms line.
Which is clearly added in later on.
The whole thing is shot just like an Are You Afraid of the Dark or Goosebumps. It's awful.
There's two very memorable actors in this film. One is, of course, Warwick Davis, who I think makes this film better.
What do I look like, me lad? See that? The buckles on me shoes? Why, I'm a leprechaun.
Yes.
He really raises up. Like Warwick Davis is like an actual good actor.
Yeah, he's great.
Like I know he gets typecast and stuff. But you ever watch his show Life's Too Short? It's really funny. He's like a really comedic guy.
I saw him at, we were just talking about Monster Mania. I saw him at Monster Mania many years ago. I'm going to say maybe 10 years ago. And I went to a Q&A panel with him. And I remember he was so entertaining. Like, he was so much fun. Like, he wasn't just like, you know, sometimes you go to a panel and they're just, you know, they just answer the questions or whatever. But he was in full performance. Like, he was standing on the table and, like, he was doing all the Leprechaun lines and everything. And, like, you know, like, some actors, they don't like to do that. But he was really embracing it. Like, he was like, oh, what's your favorite line? Tell me a line. And they'd say it. And he would just go into the Leprechaun voice and do the whole
Was
thing.
he the Leprechaun even in, like, the Leprechaun in the Hood and stuff?
Yeah,
it was
he was always the Leprechaun.
All right, because I would say definitely, please say, I would totally want him to say the friend with weed is a friend indeed when he says it to Ice-T.
A friend with weed is a friend indeed.
So he's great. And then a lesser known actress in this film was Jennifer Aniston.
Very lesser known.
Yeah, you might have heard of Jennifer Aniston. She's been in a few things.
You know, everybody starts in horror films.
Yeah.
That's
well, Jennifer Aniston, as we mentioned in the very first episode, she started as an extra in Mac and Me. And then she did the Ferris Bueller TV show, no one remembers. But this was it. This what did it for her. She did Leprechaun.
No, I gotta say, she was great in this movie. I liked how she was like the Beverly Hills Valley girl, but she was like, no, I'm not. I'm a strong woman. It's 90s, and she was giving the guy shit.
Her, LA Gear shoes.
Yeah, I saw that too. I was like, man,
it's a very 90s movie. And she's like, my favorite line is when like things are going crazy. She's like, oh, my portable. I'll get my portable. I've not heard one person call a cell phone a portable in a long time.
It was one of those you flip the bottom and pull like the one the nerd has actually.
So, you know how it's always a problem in modern movies, like how do we get the cell phones not to work because everyone's going to have them, so we need to have the tower went down or there's some sort of energy field. In this one, it was just like, they won't believe me, the battery died. Yeah. Like they came up with really good excuses in this film.
I liked in this where it's like Ozzy, the guy who's Francis, calls the police and he's like, "There's a leprechaun trying to kill us. Please send it." And they're like, "Ha ha, LOL." Like they just, they don't care.
So we should actually talk about the story because we haven't yet.
Yeah, that's right.
So it's basically a guy comes back from his mom's funeral in Ireland. Along the way, he captured a leprechaun, got his gold.
Which it happens when you're over there once.
It happens all the time.
Happened to me.
Yeah. The leprechaun, kills his wife and makes him have a stroke, but he gets trapped by the four-leaf clover. New family moves in. They accidentally awaken him. The kids find his gold. So it's a whole battle. The leprechaun wants his gold back.
What's really funny to me is that the biggest suspension of disbelief problem I have with it is the existence of four-leaf clovers. Because I'm just because as a kid it was always all about oh, you got to find a four-leaf clover, and we're going through the grass and everything. Never found one. So I've always convinced myself four-leaf clovers do not exist. But the movie's about a killer leprechaun. But my problem is the four-leaf clover.
I like they do. They're like a mutation.
Wait, hold on. He does say that he found the four-leaf clover. I'm guessing he brought some back from Ireland and planted them next to the well. So he had a arm against the leprechaun.
I'm pretty sure I've seen a I have
grow a four-leaf clover.
Damn. Do I have? I might have a four-leaf clover literally on me.
What?
I might have one on me. Hold on. I need to check my wallet.
Hold on. Is that a Sailor Moon wallet?
Yes.
Let's not mention it. All right, keep going.
I think the funniest part in this whole movie is when the leprechaun, and I never thought about this till just recently when I saw it, was that he has the power where he could use that Jedi power where he pulls over the object. Well, the Jennifer Aniston character goes into the well and gets the gold for the leprechaun, and that's what he's trying to get. He's trying to get the gold. She's like, "Here's your sack of gold." She's standing right there. He could just take it from her, but instead he uses his power to take it from her.
You know what my favorite ability the leprechaun has? Because he has a lot of magical powers. My favorite ability is during a fight scene, he grows 2 feet taller, and we never see his face. My joke is he has a very obvious stunt double in the fight scenes. Okay. It cuts to Warwick Davis, and then it'll cut to a reverse shot, and the actor is 2 feet taller than Warwick Davis. Okay. It's so funny. It's so distracting.
It's a 3-leaf clover.
Oh.
Sorry about that. I also found a picture of my grandparents from Ireland.
Yeah, basically the Leprechaun movies are completely. Trash. Yeah, I mean, they're
not that bad.
They're fun movies. They're especially when you get to 4 when he's in space.
I the first movie. I think that the writing was very clever.
Yeah, there's really
there's a lot of funny little jokes.
Ginger Dead Man level.
But
I think the one thing that it has that's good is it has Warwick Davis, it's a lot like Robert Englund in A Nightmare on Elm Street, where there's a commitment to this character sequel after sequel.
He does a good job.
Yeah, and you get used to the same guy, and I think that's the one thing these movies has going for it is the personality of the Leprechaun. And the only one that he's not in is Leprechaun Returns.
Oh, well, Origins was a reboot. And
was that Hornswoggle?
We're going to talk about that another day. That movie really pisses me off.
Honestly, I don't even think Hornswoggle was actually in the movie.
So Leprechaun Origins and Leprechaun Returns.
I like how mad you are about it.
No, I'm very mad about that movie.
It with Tony. We did commentary on it one time. And,
I have a commentary track for every Leprechaun movie.
Wow.
When did you have time to do it?
Last year. No, the movie's fun. I think because they originally went in with the mind that it should be more kid-oriented and less horror. So they add a lot of fun stuff in it to, fill out the time since it wasn't like a big slasher yet. I don't know. I think it's a good, innocent, guilty pleasure. It's a quick movie. It's fun to watch on St. Patty's Day.
Yeah, it's not bad.
Like I said, it's a good introduction to horror. I know. I tested it out on my cousin's kids. I was babysitting them one day. I'm like, hey, kids, let's watch Leprechaun. And, okay, one of them is afraid of leprechauns now. But they really enjoyed the movie while it was playing. I won't show them the sequels.
That's another thing is like that. They take the idea of the leprechaun and they don't really change it into anything new. It's just like, this is a killer leprechaun and that's all there is to it.
Other than he looks scary.
It's not like, here's this dark origin of something like Krampus or something where there's like this dark story that here's the side of it you didn't know. It's not like that. This is a very just point blank. It's a leprechaun and it kills people.
Oh, there's a great visual gag when she goes to meet the old man and she's in the retirement home and there's that shadow and you think it's a leprechaun real quick.
Speaking of which, the movie the DP must have been sick that day and they got someone good because in that scene the colors, the tilting camera, the Dutch angles,
they did a lot.
Her in that scene is amazing.
Yeah, the movie goes back and forth in in terms of visual quality. It's the best looking of I think Leprechaun 1 and 6 are probably the best looking ones. That actually.
Which one is 6?
Back to the Hood.
Okay.
Come on, James.
I think I made it up to the first Hood one. I think that's as far as I got.
The only one I've ever seen other than these that I watched the other day for this review was Leprechaun in the Hood.
Yeah.
That's why I remember that one line.
But yeah, I don't know. I think it's a fun movie. Justin hates it because he's a Grinch or something. Why do you hate this movie? What did this movie do to you?
I hate the Irish.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Wow, really, man?
25 years then? I've got a lot of killing to make up for.
Leprechaun Returns.
Okay.
Hey, about that.
Yeah.
What about that, Justin?
I didn't watch it. I'm sorry.
You son of a bitch. We all made time for Leprechaun Returns.
I had to watch 4 Indiana Jones movies. I had to watch.
Well, you've seen Leprechaun, right?
Yeah.
It's the same thing.
Oh, it is literally. It's a little more,
I will say, I did
self-aware.
watch the trailer. I figured we'd be drunk by the time we got up to this. I don't know.
I am.
So we all watched this. Well, 3 of us watched this movie. It's from the director of The Void, which was a really popular Netflix movie, which had really great practical effects. I think you would actually be really impressed by a lot of the practical effects. Cool. Not the best story. It's kind of bland. But yeah, he brings that over into this. But I kind of wish it had the charm and comedy of the first one. And it kind of does it. It has a bunch of teenagers in the house, so it feels like a generic slasher. All right, he's going to kill that
first for me, but then halfway through the movie when the leprechaun finally comes out, it started feeling like the original to me.
It started off pretty cool. Jennifer Aniston's daughter. The story is they sold the house. Her mom died. Jennifer Aniston
her
died.
character's daughter.
Yes.
Yeah.
So her mom,
Spoiler alert.
Jennifer Aniston's dead. It's in the beginning of the movie.
Because she dies at the end of Leprechaun.
No, she doesn't.
He does a Michael Flatley dance on her. It's and he kills her. Oh, speaking of which, we didn't mention this, but real quick, he pogo sticks a guy to death.
Oh, yeah.
He pogo sticks on the coin guy to death, which made me laugh harder than I couldn't believe.
The old house where the leprechaun is buried in the well was bought out by a university, and they're trying to retrofit it with solar panels and try to do green energy.
Yeah.
Clean green energy. And I think it's important to note the working title for this film was Leprechaun Renewable Enemy, which I think would have been a great title.
That's way too deep. Like it would have to come with a lot of explanation. It's like,
but I do like that this movie is not just called Leprechaun. It has
thank God.
Yeah,
thank God.
Thank you.
Thank you for calling it Leprechaun Returns and not Leprechaun.
And I think they greenlit this right around the time they were filming Halloween.
So is this technically Leprechaun 2 or Leprechaun 7?
No, it's Leprechaun 2. But yeah, so I kind of wanted like the original like charm and whatnot, but it's just, the new Leprechaun, we should mention, is not Warwick Davis.
Yeah.
Warwick Davis said he doesn't want to do horror movies because he has a new kid and he wants to wait till they're older or whatever. He would have done Origins, but they didn't ask him. Oh. So, yeah. And the new guy, I think he did okay. It's hard. It's like replacing Freddy Krueger because he did it for so long, or Pinhead.
This new guy, I thought he was close enough because at first I was like, "What is this Warwick Davis?" So I had to look it up.
Yeah,
it wasn't, and I was like, "Eh." And I went on and kept doing,
Well, I thought the makeup was great.
Yeah,
and I thought, he did have like the one-liners and everything was like on par with that, but. I didn't really know if I wanted it to be like the Warwick Davis. I almost wondered if, like, could you do a scary Leprechaun? Like, could you actually make it,
That's what Origins was trying to be.
Origins tried it, and they turned him into goblins instead. It was
like
weird.
one part that was good where the girl gets her face cut with an axe. That was about it. The new guy, let me just tell you, I think he was a little too vulgar for my taste. His jokes weren't like witty and cute. Yeah. They were like, ew. Like you sound like a creepy old man making sex jokes. No, the friend with weed is a friend indeed made me laugh. But this is like, something happens, he gets hit in the head and she's like, oh, you give really good head. It's like, yeah, come on, man. You give creamy head, I guess, like a Guinness.
But I think he's fine. It's big shoes to fill,
and it's also the writing, and the directing. It's not the guy who played the Leprechaun. I thought was great. I thought he did a good job. He seemed like Warwick Davis, but his lines were not 100% there. But I will say the deaths are way more creative in this one.
Yeah.
I liked this one. At first I was like, I don't like this one that much, but I ended up liking it just as much as the original.
Yeah, the director really, his talent was, like the kills from the Void are pretty good. He brought his A game when it came to the effects in this. This is the best looking Leprechaun movie. This looks the most like a goddamn movie.
Now I want to see it.
You should have seen it.
I will say this, Justin, you're missing out. It was real funny.
The best death in this movie, I think we talked about, was the solar panel one.
Yes.
Are you happy with Leprechaun Returns?
It's fine.
Yeah.
It's like the old one.
Should I watch this on St. Patty's Day?
If you've seen Leprechaun, you've pretty much seen it all. But if you want more Leprechaun action, then...
If you saw Leprechaun in 1993 and was like, how does he get out of that well, and was disappointed by all the sequels, this is the movie for you.
I think you should definitely watch this movie. It's funny. It made me chuckle.
As far as like making a reboot, or not a reboot, but like a soft sequel, whatever we call this.
Soft reboot, I guess.
Yeah. As far as this kind of thing is concerned, they did a good job. Like, I'm sure like this is something that would please, the fans. Yeah, I mean, they stick to the same kind of formula. It's nothing new.
The fans of what?
Leprechaun. Leprechaun movies are fun, man.
Listen, Leprechaun would rot my brain like alcohol and a poor diet have destroyed my liver. Happy St. Patty's Day.
I will say, I think my favorite joke watching it was when they're trying to argue if it's a leprechaun. And the one girl goes, it could be a crackhead who got hold of the wrong thing. Which, if you remember that famous viral video where like that news station in a local town.
I got the gold.
Some people in the Crichton area of Mobile say a leprechaun is taking up residence in their neighborhood.
Could be a crackhead that got hold to the wrong stuff.
See, that's him. I told you.
It could be a crackhead who got a hold of the wrong
Stop. It's a leprechaun.
I will say I'm sad, and this happens early on. I'm sad Ozzy died. I actually got really sad.
Oh, spoiler alert.
Sorry.
Oh, yeah.
But I also got confused because the whole thing is...
But he lives on as like a ghost.
Yeah, he lives on as a
he doesn't leave the movie at all.
I mean, the fact that he's still in this movie is fine with me, you know?
It was kind of weird because, I mean, the Leprechaun's been resurrected in real shitty ways before. This one isn't that bad. But it's like, he gets resurrected because Ozzy went close to the well, and Ozzy still has the gold coin
in his stomach
that he swallowed from the first movie.
Quick little side bit is he accidentally swallowed a coin in the first movie.
Yeah.
That he never got out of his colon, I guess. For
how do you have that in your stomach for 25 years?
Have to get that like operated on because like he'd probably block his whole shit.
And that's the one reason why in the first movie why they had to kill him with the 4-leaf clover instead of
because they couldn't give him all his gold because it was stuck.
He needed that one extra coin and it was stuck in his.
And then it causes the leprechaun to get birthed out of him, which kind of like Halloween 2018. You know how Halloween 2018 like referenced the sequels but didn't like say they were canon? Mm-hmm. This does that too, because in Leprechaun 4, the leprechaun goes into someone, but in that one he comes out of the guy's dick.
Let that be a lesson to you, lad. Always wear a prophylactic.
So much happens in the other Leprechaun movies. It's just a blur.
You know, I kind of did someone cut together like all the kills from Leprechaun movies?
Probably.
Because if not, we should put that up on St. Patty's Day. That'd be a fun one.
Like you said, Leprechaun Returns, if you like the first one, it's a fun follow-up. It's not great. It could have been a little bit better, but it's, you know, it's great. It's fine.
As, as an Irish guy.
Oh, yeah, how do you feel about this?
No, it's fine. I don't really care. It's funny to me. You know, shout out to my Aunt Mary and my cousins Lee, Andrea, and Victoria. And all your kids.
Shout out to my cousin Mariella. I'm sorry your daughters are now afraid of leprechauns. My bad.
Look at all these glittering goods. I've got more loot than Tiger Woods. Remember that one?
Yeah.
That's a good one.